with Tennessee, what are you, super senior, super senior? What do you label yourself, Keenan Pili?
Man, call it what you want. Extra senior.
How much do you get a chuckle out of the old man jokes?
A
Or to
lot.
the point where you're like, okay, enough already?
No, I kind of accept the fact now. You just gotta take it into the belt now.
I got you. You're representing Tennessee at SEC Media Days. Why has this marriage with Tennessee seemingly fit so well, even though you've played 29 snaps in a Tennessee uniform? Why does this work?
Man, I feel like it's been a smooth transition. First off, since I first got to Tennessee, but then just the program in its whole, like it matches a lot, like who I am, what I base my values off, and the principles I live by. So I feel like that's been one of the big main reasons I feel like it's been a good match, I guess you could say, for me, is just being able to live by those same standards and then being able to do that every day on the team.
Could you feel that the first time you were around Tennessee, or was that one of those deals where you go, "Hey, I think this feels pretty good," and then several weeks after you were here, you're like, "Wow, this is better than I thought it would be."
I feel like I could actually feel that. Didn't go on the rest of my visits afterwards. I feel like once I came here, got to meet people, look them in the eye, and got to meet hype. Uh, I never went back. I feel like I knew what it was about, and I was ready to commit to that type of environment.
Did that surprise you? I mean,
A little bit,
you're from Las Vegas. You're
yeah,
playing at BYU. I'm sure your thoughts on what Tennessee was like, just from a geography standpoint, was probably
yeah,
different than what it ended up being. So, how much did it catch you off guard that it was you were like, "Oh, this all feels right."
yeah. It did a little bit because I remembered playing versus Tennessee,
Right.
so like that was kind of the vibe I was going off of. By the players that I played versus in when we came up here one time, and so in a way, yeah, I feel like it did. But obviously, that was a different coach, different team, different time. So yeah,
Did when you played here? Now I know you've talked about it some. I mean, did it really leave that big of an impression on you playing in that stadium,
yeah,
playing against them? Was that one of those deals where you're like, man, that was a pretty cool place?
yeah. It was the best environment I played around for sure. Like a lot of the boys that I was with would agree, it was the loudest, crazy environment we've been to. But then again, we also remembered how cool the fans were that we met and talked to. Like they were super nice to us.
All right, so now let's go through. Obviously, last year was really hard. You've been through injury before.
Hmm.
How was last year different than other injury stuff that you've dealt with? How did you cope and deal with what happened to you last year, getting hurt in the Virginia game?
It just took some time, but I feel like I was surrounded by a lot of good people that helped me, especially the team and the coaches. They really rallied around me. It was something really difficult for me to go through because I felt like it was a stupid injury. Um,
Stupid
compared to
as in
others, like
just freak
yeah,
random
just
like
freak random, and it was a lot harder to come back from than I thought. And it's like something that I don't think will affect me in the future, but it happened and it is done. You know what I mean? So I feel like I just needed some mental space, for that day or so, and then once everyone rallied around me, helped me out, I was good, man, and just move forward.
what was the hardest when was the hardest point? Was the hardest point the day after, or were there was the hardest point in rehab where you're like, wait a minute, this is more than I thought it would be to get strength back and everything
Uh-huh.
back? What was the lowest point for you there?
Probably come back from the game. Obviously, we didn't know what happened yet, but I'm pretty in tune with my body, and I knew it was something that probably was not very good. So I feel like that day.
So you knew in Nashville at the game when you couldn't go
I
back for the
knew in the
second half.
third quarter when I couldn't keep playing through it, I was like, "Oh, this it's got to be pretty serious if I can't like hit somebody."
Obviously, your plan was to be here for a year
Yeah.
and move on. Did you have to you and your wife? How hard was it to come to terms with like, okay, because I know you had a decision to make, but you didn't have tape here, and
Yeah.
I mean you weren't healthy for NFL workout stuff. I mean,
Right.
how hard was that to come to terms with? All right, we're gonna have to stay here, and well, not have to say, but we're gonna be here another year when that wasn't a part of our plan.
Yeah, I think it was really just with my wife. It was trusting God's timing and God's plan because bigger, greater than me, and I think we understood that. And maybe right now or in that moment, I was like, all right, man, what's going on? What should I do? Um, I'm gonna be old, stuff like that. Like all that goes through your mind. It's not like it just passes by. So to come to terms with all that was a little bit difficult, but just understanding, it's the road I'm paving, whatever that road may look like, as long as hopefully I can get the goal in there.
So when did you feel like you were back
Um,
over the course of the last 5 or 6 months? When did you go, all right, this is how it all's supposed to feel. I feel free, I can go.
yeah, probably say around end of spring ball or so. Like I really felt 100, like feeling really good, feeling really strong. Feel like I can, punch stuff how I used to punch it. So that was all I was waiting for, and felt really good doing it. And I've had some really good training now that it's feeling a lot better. So
All right, a couple of questions left. You are the old guy, all right, in a group of talented young linebackers.
yeah,
How do you lead a group like that? What is your challenge as a leader of a group of linebackers who many of them are either first year players or they're going into their second year? How does your leadership, give me an example of how that kind of shows up with those guys?
for me, leadership is all the great leaders I know from when I started playing, and I looked up to. They showed you what to do by how they do it and did it every single day. So with the people around me, I try to be the most consistent guy I am. I'm pretty much the same guy every day, and I feel like that type of work ethic, that type of example, is what really influences people when you actually talk to them, when you actually try to help them. So a group of young guys, you can't just tell them what to do. You got to show them how to actually get it done. From the experiences you've had and seen, you got to be able to show them, hey, this is what makes a great team, what makes a great teammate, what makes a great player, and if I can influence in that way, I feel like I'm doing a good job.
So it's not a forced thing. You're very organic in it.
Yeah,
In terms of, I mean, you're not the biggest rah rah or pull a
yeah,
guy over. You this, that, and the other. It's very much follow my lead.
yeah, definitely. And me, I've never been one to be fueled like off a very like loud people or gain energy from that. It just never like it never fueled me. Like there was always a different type of fuel I came from that was coming from home or from purpose or like things I was going through. Like that was my real purpose. That's what made me come in every day, or else I wouldn't want to. So I feel like I personally haven't been the most like energetic guy or give energy, but I'm very much intense in the way I go about things, and I feel like that intensity and urgency can be felt.
Last question I got. Tell me about William Inge.
Great coach, man. Came in right out of nowhere, quick switch, and like we're going through a lot of changes, but I feel like he's just been a perfect fit for Tennessee and especially for our linebacker room. He's built a lot of confidence in us.
But you knew him, right? He tried to
Yeah,
recruit you a little bit.
yeah, from the portal. Yeah, I knew him a little bit from there.
Did y'all talk much, or was it
Not too
just kind of in
much.
passing?
Not too much. I was always heading east this way, so not too much.
So he seems like your all's personality would fit because he's a little bit of a. I'm sure he's got some intensity, but I don't know how much that he's all rah rah all the time. It's just kind of go to work, type
Uh-huh.
deal. Do you feel like your personalities fit each other well that way?
Yeah, well, he'll bring the juice. No, he'll
No,
bring the
really.
juice. Yeah, Coach Sims will bring the juice, and he's the same guy every day, and he demands a lot from us, from the room. Expects a higher standard than most live by. So yeah, he brings them energy.
What's your goal? What's your goal for this season? Do you have goals?
Yeah,
Is that a you thing, and you're just
yeah,
that's in your locker, or that's at the house, and
no doubt.
that's it?
My goal is to win. Part of the reason I came back, I feel like this team could win. Actually, could win,
Why
and
do you
had the
feel that way?
talent. You see the talent around, the type of players that are here. It only takes 1 year to spark what could be a great season, but it has to come from obviously us in the locker room and to mold those pieces because talent's talent, but if you got the pieces and you can actually put in the work and people actually buy into what's going on, I feel like we got a special season.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch, and we
Yeah.
look forward to watching you all season long. So
Thank you.
stay healthy. Congratulations
Will do.
on getting to be a representative of this team, even though you're not the biggest veteran on this team, even though you're the older guy. And
Yeah.
great luck to you this fall. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.